What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Toyworld Tactics Waistcoat. Originally this was called Freedom Leader, but this is their movie Optimus Prime. Really exciting figure, so let's take a quick look at the box. There's not really much on here. There's the same image kind of on every side, so that's really all there is. There's nothing else. There's no product shots or anything. I mean, this is a very thick, heavy packaging. Came in blister pack, or plastic tray kind of looks, but that's really it. You do not get an instruction manual with this. What you do get is one of these things, which is kind of weird. Here's Toyworld delivering it to you, and then you open up this and you scan this QR code, and that takes you to a video, and that's the actual instructions for this figure. So there is no instruction manual here. I think these are warranty cards. I don't even know what these are, honestly. They are not in English, so I have no idea. Anyway, that's really it for the packaging. Let's get this guy out of here and take a look at how cool he really is. And here we have the figure out of the packaging, and he is really a sight to behold. There's a lot to look at on here. There's a lot of detail. I'm going to try to go over pretty much all the detail as much as I can, but I also don't want to make this review, super long. So I'll try to go quickly, but I'll also give you a good look at it. So we'll put the G1, not the G1, we'll put the movie image over here from the Bumblebee movie, so you can take a look. I think this is a really close likeness to the movie. They did a great job with a lot of the detail, a lot of look. By the way, it does come packaged in his Cybertronian mode, so all of his Cybertronian parts are on him right now. We will take a look at his Earth mode. I'll get all his Earth parts on there. We'll do that all at once just because we don't want this to take a really long time for this review. So I'll put it all on there, and then we'll take another look at it. But just beautiful from every angle. They really put a lot of detail on this. I'm going to start with his head and work my way down on the detail just so you can see everything kind of up close and take a look at all the details that's on there. So we'll start with the head. So the head is sculpted. All this detail is sculpted. So it looks like it's painted on, but it's actually, you can feel it, it's sculpted. The head, all of the detail you see on the head, that's all sculpted in. The ears do move. You can move the ears up and down. And overall, pretty good. You can't take the head off. So we'll take a look at the alternate head later when we take a look at the other parts for his Earth mode. You can light up the eyes. They do look a little dead without the lighting. But you push in the face mask here, and you get the light up eyes. I have really bright lights on this, and it's still showing up. So those are some really nice bright LEDs under there. I think they did a great job with that. Nice head crest. Everything about that head sculpt is pretty nicely done. I think they did a good job there. So moving on down, you'll see there's some detail on the chest where they've had some battle damage, and it looks really well done. It is actually paint. It's not a scratch. It's actually painted silver there. These mirrors, which are already getting dirty, they came with little plastic covers on these. So I think that's because they probably are fingerprint magnets. Okay, so continuing down, you see some weathering detail on these arms. Really just beautifully done. Moving down to the abdomen and the waist area, you see this is all sort of a weathered metallic look. It's not quite just paint. It's got paint, but then it's also this wash on it, and it just looks beautiful. I mean, I don't know how to... I'm not a huge paint expert, but the paint on here really is outstanding. I've never owned a figure that had this much paint on it. Moving on down, you'll see you got this kind of rust effect here on the thighs. Again, that's a wash or a paint. And in person, this actually looks like a rust. I know on camera it probably just looks dirty, but it really looks like rust in person. And then continuing down, you have the wheels here. The wheels are all painted with this dirt look. And when we look at the Cybertronian wheels, you'll see there's even more dirt, but they just did a great job with these. There's a lot of detail on these wheels, or the tires, I'm sorry. And continuing downwards on the figure, you can see a little more sculpted detail on the feet. There's pistons right here. Those pistons don't actually do anything, but they have a look. And then you've got this weathering detail, little scratches here and there. So what we're going to do is change out everything. Just want to show you how each thing comes off. So these are just pegged in. So those are just pull right off. And then these right here, you open this up, this panel, and it is kind of a pin, or not a pin, pegs. There's 2 pegs, and you just kind of slide those 2 pegs off. There's a peg here and a peg here, and there's 2 tabs. This plastic does feel a little bit mushy, so you probably don't want to do this too many times. So they just pull right off. And again, these are painted in detail. They're not just red and white. They actually have washing and a dirt look on them. Just amazing. Okay, so let's get, and the tires, they also just pull off. You just grab them and pull them off, and then you can replace them. Just like that. Okay, so we're going to get all these parts changed out. I'm going to do that off camera. I'll be right back. And here he is with all of the Earth mode parts. So you've got this, again, another nicely detailed weathering on these. You've got these, which are, you know, more traditional smokestacks. I want to get in on this detail because it's just outstanding the way they did this. Oops. So you can see they've chromed the tip, or I guess titanium tips, whatever you want to call that. Just such a cool look there. All of this paint, you know, that's weathered too. So just beautiful job with that. And then the parts down here on the wheels, you can see we got rid of those wheel covers. I like this a lot better, honestly. I think these wheels, they just did a phenomenal job detailing inside of those wheels. It looks like it's oil and dirt. I mean, just outstanding paint on this thing. I did put the other hand on just so you could see how that hand looks. This is the gripping hand. And now that we have that gripping hand, why don't we take a look at the guns so you can see how they all look. He comes with a lot of guns. They're all kind of designed the same way. So they have this a tab right there. Actually, we'll just look at them. You can see these are even these are weathered. All of the paint on these are weathered. So there's a kind of a, I don't know, automatic, semi-automatic weapon. I don't know anything about guns. Here's kind of a rifle, which you could probably dual wield. This has lights and sounds on it, so you press this button right here, and let's see if I can get the sound to, so you can hear it. Hold it down, it makes a different sound, and then if you double click it, it stays on. You can turn it back off. It's a really bright light in there. You open up this back part here, and you'll see there's a USB port. And that's because it comes with a USB charger, which is just blows my mind. It even says Tactics Waistcoat right on the charger. It's just, I don't know why that blows my mind, but it does. You also, just for the sake of completeness, you do get a set of batteries. I guess they're replacement batteries because everything I've got had batteries in it. So this one doesn't come with batteries, but for whatever reason, you can take off the back on this one too. Maybe they were thinking about putting batteries in it and then decided not to. So this one doesn't light up. Then you get this one, which also, the back comes off, but it doesn't light up. Just a smaller kind of handgun or shotgun type of weapon. This is actually my favorite one of all of them. But again, a nice look to it. And then you get an absolutely ridiculous gun, which is this rifle here. We'll move him back out of the way. It's really big. I mean, compared to the size of Optimus, it's gigantic. It does come with this tripod that folds down. And so you could have him prone on the ground. I mean, that's just insane. And, of course, it wouldn't be complete without light up and sound. So let me turn the sounds on so you can hear it. I'll put the speaker close. And if you hold it down, you get a slightly different sound. And again, this one lights it up. If you double click it, it stays on. You click it again, it turns off. So really beautiful weapons. I mean, just outstanding. This for me is a little too big. I just don't like the size of it. But if you had a nice big display area, you could probably set him up prone on the ground with this thing or something and make it look cool. All right, so I'm going to get these all into his hands now. Each hand, this hand is just a gripping hand. It doesn't articulate. So I'm going to put a gun in each hand. I'm not going to waste time, getting it in there. I'm just going to do that off camera, but that way you can see all the guns. So let's get these in the hand. Here you have them with the first two guns, and this is the trigger posed hand, and this is the articulated hand. And to be honest, I don't really understand why we need the trigger hands. They work just fine. They're actually pretty nice and secure. It's these ones that are designed to hold a gun that's kind of loose. It doesn't really sit properly. And I think it's because you have to, this is pliable plastic, and you got to kind of bend it to get it in there. But once you bend it, it doesn't really hold. So I don't really understand what was the intent of including those, because these hands work just fine. I'm just going to take this out because it's falling out. These hands work just fine, and actually they look quite nice. They pose quite nicely on the gun. And here he's with the larger kind of rifle. And you can set it up to dual wield, or you can just hold it on its own. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just wanted to show you it's a larger gun. All right, and here's with the gigantic rifle with the tripod setup. You may be wondering, why do I have this set up on these boxes? Well, number one, these boxes come with this guy, so I'm going to show those. But number two, I can't figure out a position in which he can hold this. I tried having him prone on the ground. That didn't work. I tried having him stand up and securing it with his other hand. That doesn't work. So I don't really know what their intent was on how he should be using this rifle. It's too big, especially this back area. The only way to put it into his hand is to straighten his arm. And the final accessory are this Energon axes. They combine together to create this thing. I believe you can mount it somewhere on his arms, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, so if you open up this panel and have that sit kind of on the bottom, then you can attach this to the side of his arm. There you go. So he's got that huge Energon shield, which it actually weighs the arm a little bit down too much, so that joint doesn't hold up. If you use the other joint, you can get it to hold up. All right, here he is with the Energon axes. They look okay. This one's kind of awkwardly big, but this is the problem here. The weight on them is a little bit too much for his hand, and they tend to fall down. So that's kind of a bummer that they're not really usable. Now we've gone through all accessories. Let's get through articulation. So the head, you do get quite a good movement there. So you get up to here, down to there. It's on a rotating swivel, so it rotates nice and freely. No side to side. The ears do articulate separately, so you can move the ears up and down. And shoulders have a lot of articulation, so you have a butterfly joint inwards and outwards. Show you the hardware there. You do have a joint that way, and this was the joint that I think one of the reviewers were complaining that it was falling down. Mine isn't falling down at all. So there's that, and then there's the outer joint. So you get the outer joint up, and then you can get this inner joint up. So you get it all the way up to there, basically. Oops. Okay, and you can rotate it all the way around on that shoulder joint. You have a bicep swivel. You have double jointed elbow all the way up to here. It doesn't curl all the way, but almost all the way. I'm going to give them to them. That's a double jointed elbow. Rotation at the wrist. Again, I mentioned these are on ball joints, so there's just a ball socket on the hands, and the ball joint on the arm just goes into the hand. You have individually articulated fingers here. Each finger has two joints, one at the base and one in the middle. And then the thumb is on a ball joint. So nice articulation there. You get sort of a double ab crunch. So you have one kind of up here. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but there's a little bit of crunch there. And then you get this underneath ab crunch right here, where it sort of automorphs a little bit, where the hip skirts go down and this piece comes up. So kind of cool little looking thing there. I do think this is articulated because these little metal pieces expose themselves when you lift it up. So I believe that is an ab crunch. I did leave these out here. So you have articulation on these smokestacks. Those can turn around, and you can also push them up and down. If you want a different look, you can push them down like that, or you can have them all the way up. I tend to have them all the way up like that. But you can pose it however you like. Continuing down on the body, you have hip skirts here on the front and on the back. and you have one on the side. Really cool looking one too, by the way. This is die cast, I believe. Feels like die cast. A lot of this leg, the inner leg hardware feels like die cast. In fact, I think this whole top of the leg is die cast. You get all the way up to there. Really nice movement there. Smooth. You get back to here, it's articulate, it's hindered there by this back, but you can see this joint is one of those kind of swing joints where it swings upwards and out, and that's what allows you that kick so high. But it does, because they have that, it hinders it backwards. Then you get out to the side on a friction joint. They're all friction joints there on the thigh, and it's nice and tight. You can hear that squeak. You get a rotation at the thigh, a double jointed knee, so you get a joint here. And again, they've done a beautiful job at having a piece of plastic there so it doesn't break up the sculpt. And then you do this one, and it's got more underneath. Almost, this kind of like hidden away joint, so you don't see anything underneath. Just so cool. But you get it all the way back to there, so really, really nice articulation on the knee. You get an ankle tilt out to there, and you get an ankle pivot in both directions. This is a nice strong joint in both directions, very tight. You get a toe tilt all the way up to there. I believe this is for transformation, so won't count that as articulation, but you do get a toe tilt up. Nothing on the heel, but if you wanted to have him walking, you could have that toe up. Die cast on the bottom of the feet, feels really good. I'm not sure if the whole thing is die cast, but at least this front toe is die cast. All right, let's get into the transformation. I'm going to try to show this in as few cuts as possible, but it is a challenging transformation, so there are parts where things get stuck and there's clearances are tough, so we'll do our best here. So start off with the arms. You can bend at the upper elbow, give him a 90-degree bend, then take this panel, put that down to the bottom, take his hand. You're going to open up this panel here. You can just press here, and that should... That's one of the issues, is these hands tend to pop off. And then make sure you have the hand folded up like that. And then that whole thing is going to go into his hand. If it doesn't go in, you need to bend this elbow a little bit to make a little room. But that should all go in there. Okay. So exactly the same on the other side, so we're going to get that off camera. Okay, now that we have the arms squared away, we can start taking care of the chest and upper body. And this is probably where the things are most difficult and kind of frustrating. Go ahead and open up these panels. Leave those back there for now. Go ahead and take his butt flap here and just fold that down and leave that there. And then take these panels and open those up on both sides. Leave that there, and that'll allow you to open up his entire chest. So grab from here and you should be able to clear everything. If you're having trouble, then it's probably something that's catching. It doesn't always clear very nicely, but you should be able to get it all the way back like that, almost like standard Optimus transformation. Go ahead and take these panels and flip them this way and then down. Again, this way and then down. And here you're going to flip this up and make sure you get this red panel up and this silver panel down. There is a little clearance issue down here, so you got to make sure you clear that. So go ahead and do that. Same on this side. And just leave that there for now because you're going to have to work with that. And things are going to move and get, displaced and all that. All right, next we got to get this whole chest piece out of the way. And it's got to clear. So go ahead and open up these panels. Free this piece right here. And you can see it's kind of loose actually. Pull this down. So that'll accordion down on this. And then open up this chest panel, open up the chest panel again, and just get it flat so you should have a nice flat piece there. Right, now we have to get this chest piece oriented around these, I guess, front chest pieces, and it's very challenging to get it around there without having things fall apart on you. I'm trying to do it on camera, see if I can get it. And you are bending plastic past other plastic. There's really no way around that. You've got to get it around the plastic. And while you do that, the head tends to fall off, which again is very frustrating, irritating to deal with. But you've got to get it cleared. Okay, now that we got that clear, we can put the head back on. It will probably fall off again, but let's get this head back in there. And so go ahead and get these panels kind of lined up, and you can sort of see how it's going to go. And there are over-under panels on the bottom there. Let's go ahead and get those pegged in. And then get this in front. And all the while making sure you have this panel completely straight. There you go. Okay, now we can work on this backpack piece. Again, more frustrating pieces here. So go ahead. Try to get on camera. You can see another piece that tends to fall off here is this piece. Stick that back on. All right, go ahead and pull this away, and you should be able to lift this up and out from underneath. Again, another bending of plastic to clear that. Don't like having to do that, but that's the only way. Okay, now once you have that clear, you can go ahead and push this inwards and then pull out this red panel here, and that's going to go underneath. And a critical step that's missed in the Chinese online manual, the video manual, is you've got to shift this forward on that hinge. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to finish the transformation and things get stuck. That was a frustration that held me up for quite some time on this guy. Very, very annoying. And so make sure you have this collapsed all the way down. You'll feel it peg in, and then you should have a gap between the top of this and this red panel. Go ahead and close these around, and so you can see it's starting to come together. All right, now that we take care of this, we can get the arms in here. This is actually another frustrating piece of this transformation because you got to bend the arm to get it in there. There's no easy way. You just have to manipulate it properly to get it in there, and you're going to bend plastic to do it. That's just the bottom line. So you want to get it at an angle, and you got to clear all of this above this arm, and then you're going to get this in here. Things tend to fall off. Don't worry about that. You can put it back on later. And make sure you clear underneath. There's the tab right there. That's going to clear underneath this metal piece. And if it doesn't clear, then it's not going to go in. And when you get it right, it should all be square underneath. So that's one side done. We'll get the other side done and clean it up a little bit. Now you got the arms in there. Just make sure they're square and everything is kind of lined up so that you can get the rest of the panels. If you don't have these right, then everything else is going to be a frustration. So now we'll work on the front. So go ahead and open up these, fold these panels inwards, close up this front windshield, and then flip this panel down, and it should just flip right into place. Make sure you angle these up. And flip this down. This is all die cast up here, by the way. And then these should flip down and go into place on the sides. Okay, now we have that. Now we can take care of the sides here. So go ahead and I'll do one side here. Open up this panel here and flip that all the way out. Flip this panel downwards. Flip this panel in, and that'll lock in place there. Go ahead and close this. Make sure you have this all the way up if you haven't up already. And leave this open. Open up this panel here, and that is going to peg into the side. You want to actually angle it a little bit this way so you have like a inward angle, and that's going to help you hit that tab. This is actually the one tab that's I don't think it's tolerance right, so it took me a while to get it the first time. I had to actually clear some material from inside there. But go ahead and tab that in there. Alright, once you get that in, go ahead and close this panel. And that finishes the one side, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And here is the front of the cab kind of done. If you've gotten this far, then congratulate yourself, because this whole front cab is actually the hardest part of the entire transformation, especially down here. Just frustrating. Alright, going on in the back here, the legs, this is a lot easier. Just move these hip skirts out of the way and open these up. I'll do one leg and then we'll do the other one off camera. So go ahead and fold the toe down, flip the foot around, open up this panel here, and that's going to fold inwards. Take this panel down, and that's going to fold. And you want to open up the wheels here. Open up this, I guess, gas tank or whatever you want to call it. Flip this around and peg that back in. And then you're going to bring this down, and you should fit together, if you have it right, should fit together like that. And then take this panel, and underneath it's going to fit inside of this panel, and so you can kind of maneuver this one so it gets underneath there. And it should be pushed to the outer edge this way. So that's one leg. We'll get the other one done off camera. Okay, so you should end up with something like this. There's a tab in here. It's just easier to get a spudger and get that tab out from inside. And that's going to hold the two legs together. So go ahead and tab that together like so. And we're getting to the home stretch here. Go ahead and let's take care of this now. So get these side panels tabbed in. You want to make sure it's at the right length. And it'll only go one way here, so just get those hip skirts tabbed into the side of the legs here. See, on this side, looks like this one already kind of attached itself. Right? And then what we're going to do is get the gas tanks out. This has a clearance problem, so you kind of have to pull it away and out. And it's another bending on the plastic. It doesn't feel good. Same on this side. Go ahead and bend this out. Bend this around. You know, flex it a little bit so you can clear. I'm just trying to show you that I had to bend it to clear, and it doesn't feel good. By the way, there's no other way. I've looked, I even watched a couple of reviews just to make sure, and there is no other way to clear that. It just is a poorly tolerance thing that you have to bend the plastic. Alright, so almost done here. Go ahead and take this panel and fold that down, and that's going to kind of make the bottom of his rear section here. And then these you can basically push down so that they look cohesive with the rest of the truck. And we'll clean them up. One last finally touch is open up these rear view mirrors. We'll clean them up and take a look at them. Here we have Freedom Leader in his vehicle mode. And again, very beautiful vehicle mode. There's a lot of detail on here. A lot of things carry over, but there's also some additional detail we didn't see in the robot mode. So let's get the movie image of Optimus in his vehicle mode. And you can take a look. We'll do a quick 360. There's a lot of die cast pieces on here. So this gas tank is die cast up here. I believe this here is die cast. On the back, a lot of these leg pieces, the same pieces that were die cast before, but a lot of the leg pieces are die cast. I can't tell if these gas cans are die cast or not, but they feel pretty solid there. On the back, you got some red and orange lights, kind of like the G1 Optimus Prime there. Overall, pretty nice looking vehicle mode. I really like the way it came out. It does roll pretty smoothly. Although it's a little bit heavy, it does roll. A lot of detail on this thing. I mean, you can see in the wheels, you know, kind of on the side. There's all this little details, and it looks really good. It's really well done. Let's do a quick comparison. Here he is with MP10. You can see, you know, a lot of the design cues for MP10 show up here. You do have these details up here on the lights. There's actually some translucent pieces inside the little metallic looking pieces. So that looks really nice. A little bit different than the G1 or the MP10, but still looks really good. The headlights, everything on the front kind of is very reminiscent of the G1 version. If you take a look on the side, here's where you get a little bit more modern. It does have a really long cab, or sorry, a really long back here. That part just kind of sticks out. It does feel a little bit too big, but I guess that's the price you pay when you make a figure like this. So final thoughts on this guy. Let's start with the positives. So you get a ton of accessories. You get every possible accessory you want. He's got a lot of flexibility, right? You can have him in the Cybertron mode, you can have him in the Earth mode, you have multiple weapons to choose from, you have multiple shields or axes to choose from, you have light up options, you have guns that make sounds and lights and sounds. So he is not shy on the accessories. You got everything you would possibly want with this guy. Also, the level of detail is pretty darn good. I've never actually really seen a figure with this level of detail that actually transforms, you know, in terms of just the sculpt work and the paint and the overall aesthetic, and even the washes and all of the stuff that went into this, the battle damage. Really well done, just really nice to look at. The negatives where this starts to fall apart is the transformation. Transformation is very frustrating. It doesn't come with instructions, so you're left to figure that out for yourself. There is a link to a video, which is on, I think, Bilibili, some Chinese website, and it's not a great video. It's very hard to follow, and there's no words, so it's not in English. You're left to find, you know, maybe like a video. There is a video by MGO, and that actually is very useful and helpful. If it wasn't for that video, I probably would have trouble figuring out how to transform this guy. Just because it's pretty challenging, and there's a lot of stuff where there's clearance issues. That's the primary issue with this guy, is clearance issues trying to get him transformed. There's also some like loose things here and there, like this piece here. You know, the chest doesn't tend to stay in place where you want it. You can get it to stay, but it's a little bit of work. The hands are a little bit loose, so it's got a ball joint peg, but the peg is a little bit small, so it tends to kind of fall. And then the head, as you're manipulating it, sometimes you pop it off because it's just sitting on top with friction, not really secure. And that's some stuff that's frustrating while you're trying to transform it. Things tend to come off or pop off or move as you're manipulating or as you're posing it. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below, but we'll see you next time.